You're listening to the Play Like a Girl podcast, episode number 11.
You play ball like a girl!
I'm Nikki B with Play Like a Girl, made just for female athletes.
I can be a girl in a man's game, a diamond in the dirt.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Play Like a Girl podcast. I'm your host, Nikki B. Here at Play Like a Girl, we aim to encourage more confidence in young women who play sports and give them the necessary tools and advice to have an amazing career in sports and beyond. If you are a young woman who plays sports and lives an active lifestyle, or you know one of these young women, I am so excited you are here. Each week, we'll either bring you a guest in the sports world or have a roundtable discussion of the many taboo and important topics in the world of female sports. Are you with me? Let's change the game. All right, Plaque listeners, so today I am super excited to share this episode with you because I talked to Anna Shumaker. She is a former gymnast who went to UC Davis and also competed on American Ninja Warrior. I had so much fun talking to her about that. We talked a lot about injuries, perseverance, and being an entrepreneur and how the skills that she developed as an athlete helped her in her businesses today. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to our guest, Anna Shumaker. All right, well, hi, Anna. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I'm so excited you are here. We heard about you through Katie, who we just had on the podcast, and she told us that you're an American Ninja Warrior, and you're just a total awesome female athlete, so I'm so excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on here.
Awesome. So just to get to know you a little better for all of our listeners to figure out who you are, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
Okay, yeah, I think so.
All right. First one, where did you grow up?
I'm actually from Virginia, but I moved around. So I lived in North Carolina, Illinois, and then California. So I grew up in the Bay Area from 10 years old on.
Wow. Okay. And so where do you live now?
I now live in Sacramento in Midtown.
Awesome. Yes. And what sports did you play growing up?
I really only did gymnastics with a couple, like 2 years of competitive swimming thrown in there, but I was a one sport girl.
Awesome. I was too. All right. What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
I love that. Okay. What is one of your superpowers?
I was thinking about that one, and I would say probably my ability to turn anything into a playground.
Love that.
I will climb on just about anything you put in front of me if I'm allowed to.
I love it.
Sometimes,
I mean, it makes sense for what you do. Being a gymnast, it totally makes sense. Okay, and then lastly, who's your favorite athlete?
I would probably have to say right now it's Simone Biles. She's in the highly Olympic gymnast, best gymnast in the world.
Okay, and not to mention, she's just like the cutest thing ever. I just love her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like 5 feet tall and flies like 20 feet in the air. It's ridiculous.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Well, let's now dive a little deeper into who you are. So you said you play gymnastics primarily. That was like pretty much your only sport. So walk us through your sports journey growing up and how you got into gymnastics in the first place.
Yeah, so I started gymnastics when I was 4 years old, just one of those preschool classes that your mom throws you in to, get some energy out. And pretty much I never left. I loved the sport. I never had to be dragged to practice. I always wanted to go. But I probably started getting serious when I was in high school. That's when I realized that it could take me to college. So I started getting a little more serious with it, trying to up my skill level so I could get recruited. And then I think I actually had an injury my freshman year in high school. I broke my back.
Oh.
I had a couple
How
stress
did you do
fractures
that?
in my back. Overuse. A lot of gymnasts have this problem. It's you're landing incorrectly, and it was an overuse in my lower back. And then, so my recovery from that is when I got a lot better, ironically enough.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
So let's talk about, because you said that you started focusing a little bit more on gymnastics in high school when you realized you could get a scholarship. So talk to us, because you told me that you got a scholarship at UC Davis. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So how was the recruiting process for you, and how did you choose Davis?
So the process started my sophomore year. So when I recovered from that injury is when my career kind of skyrocketed. That I had my comeback year, I competed at Western Nationals and I won that meet. And that was when college coaches started to recognize who I was, but I still wasn't at the level that they were looking for. When you get recruited, they look for level 10 gymnasts, and I was a level 9, so I was a little bit behind. And so with the recruiting process, I was mailing out packets to multiple schools, which no one does now. Now it's all online. But
Right.
I was mailing out packets. I was emailing. I was putting videos on YouTube, all because my club coach basically said, hey, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So just let them know who you are and keep emailing them. So I was that annoying recruit that was emailing them every week, letting them know that I was progressing, getting better. And there were a couple of schools on my radar I was looking at, but Davis, the coach, was friends with my club coach, and so I got to know him better, and it just made more sense to go there. And then when I walked on campus, I loved it. I knew that's where I wanted to go. So he recruited me my junior year in high school and committed me to Davis.
That's awesome. Well, Davis is such a pretty campus. It was actually one of the schools I looked at too. But before we dive into more of like the college recruiting process, talk about your injury and I know for a lot of our listeners who, maybe of course have watched gymnastics before, but they don't really know, understand the levels. So talk about the levels first of all, and then your injury and how you were able to progress and get better after that injury, because I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Okay. So with gymnastics, there's 10 levels, and that's the Junior Olympics. It's 1 through 10, but really it's like 4 through 10 because the first 3 are developmental levels. So I would say college coaches are looking at level 10. Olympic is elite. So, but the gap between level 10 and elite is very large. So when you see the Olympics, those are the elite athletes, and then level 10 is just below elite. So as you're looking in high school, you want to be level 10 by about your sophomore year, ideally, to get recruited into college, and especially if you're looking for a scholarship. So I was a little bit behind because I hurt my back my freshman year, and that put me back a level. So I was level 9 instead of level 10 as a sophomore. So that's kind of how the levels work, if that makes a little sense. And then when it comes to the injury, I was out for 6 months to a year, and then I spent all that time just conditioning, getting a lot stronger. So when I came back, my body was strong. I just was behind on I just had to learn some new skills. And I came back and as a level 9 and won the Western National Championships, which was that was probably the highlight of my whole club gymnastics career, was that meet, because it was my comeback. It was everything. Everything clicks. I'm sure you've had tournaments in golf where everything just clicks and just goes right. It was one of those days.
Right.
And that was kind of the turning point of my club career. And then I moved up to level 10 my junior year and had a great season, qualified to the junior national championships that year. But recovering from the injury was tough. I mean, I couldn't do any gymnastics for 6 months. All I did, I'd go into the gym every day, condition, stretch, go home, and condition, stretch, and visualize my routines. And I did that for months on end. But I think it's important that when you're hurt, that you still go through the motions of your sport, because otherwise you can either lose your motivation or it's a slower comeback. If you want to come back as fast as possible from an injury, you have to keep your mind in the game, keep your mind, active, and
Right.
keep your mind doing the sport, even though your body can't at the moment.
Totally. I mean, the mental game is a huge part. I mean, I know for me as a golfer, mental game is huge, but for any sport, really. And like you said, especially when you're injured or maybe if you're not playing as well, it's really sharpening that mental game, because that'll help you, and as well as conditioning and get your body stronger. But talk a little bit too about, I'm interested, how do you go from level 9 to level 10? What's the process of that? And then what's even the process of going from level 10 to elite?
So going from it's a skill difficulty. So every level has a required set of skills in gymnastics. So, for example, on balance beam, right? You have to do what's called a series. So it's 2 skills in a row. And maybe in level 9 or in level 8, that skill is 2 back handsprings, which is and then in level 10, you have to add a flip to one of them, so you don't touch your hands. So it's your difficulty goes up, and you have to successfully include these more difficult skills in your routines. And then you have to successfully compete them to be qualified at that level.
Right.
And you have to go through every level. You can skip levels by doing 2 or 3 meets and scoring a certain score, and then you can move on to the next level. But that's very difficult to do because the skills are really challenging as you're moving up. And so that's kind of how. So to go from level 9 to level 10, I had to upgrade my skills on every event. And then from level 10 to elite, which I didn't do because I didn't go to the Olympics, but that jump, every level is about here, and then that jump is like here. It's
Right.
huge. I mean, that's Simone Biles. That's what you see her
Yes.
doing, you know, and there's the difficulty level is an infinite for elite. There's now if they can make up their own skills, they are trying to they now get rewarded for difficulty. They change the whole scoring platform. It's no longer, they don't get scored out of the 10.
Wow.
So yeah, so they can up their difficulty as much as they want. So that level jump is pretty intense.
That's crazy. I'm just thinking to myself of how the fact that I can barely do a cartwheel. So what you guys can do is just absolutely insane to me. So before we get into all that,
I don't think I can hit a golf ball, so.
Right. See, yep, it's all relative. Okay, so let's talk about now. I want to know, what are some of your favorite memories from playing on a team in high school and college? And then as well as, what are some of the pitfalls? So your favorite memories and then also the pitfalls. So like the peak and the pit of, you know, being a student athlete, and then your advice for others.
Okay, so my best memory in high school is probably that meet that I was talking about, the Western National Championships. That was my comeback year. It was one of those like kind of magical moments. I'm really close with my club coach, and her and I had just really, really clicked, had a great meet there. Club it's a very individual sport in club. I mean, I had some teammates, but I was the only one at my level at that time. So it's really just me and my coach going through the meets my last couple of years. So my relationship with her and those, you know, championship meets were definitely the highlight. The pitfalls were my injuries in high school. I had my back injury and actually broke my foot my senior year in high school, and I couldn't compete my last year. And my college coach, I was already offered my scholarship, and he didn't take it away, which I was terrified that when he found out my foot was broken that I was done. And luckily he had some faith in me and didn't take it away. But injuries are going to be the downfalls every time. It just, not being able to do your sport not by choice is heartbreaking in the moment. So, and that continues into college. So for college, my highlight was my senior year. We made it to the NCAA regional championships for the first time. Davis had never made it to regionals as a team when I joined my freshman year. They had individuals go. It's top 34 teams in the country go to NCAA regionals for gymnastics. And we always were, you know, 38th or 40. In my senior year, we were 34th. So we made that top 36 teams, and we went as a team. And I was captain that year with another one of my teammates. Her and I were able to end our college careers at regionals, which was the highlight of my entire career, for sure. And then pitfall would be another injury. I had shoulder surgery my freshman year in college.
Wow.
So that was.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. So real quick, how many bones have you broken, and how many surgeries have you had? Because I feel like you've had a lot.
I've had 2 surgeries. I've had my shoulder repaired, and I've had ankle surgery, which is how I met Katie, because Katie did my rehab.
Yes.
Yep. And then I've had bones, a lot. I broke it. Both my feet have been broken. I broke my wrist, but most of my injuries were, and my back was broken. So quite a few.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, I feel like things, when you're doing all of that with your body and contorting your body like that and jumping and moving around, like I feel like for like gymnastics and even cheer, like it's pretty much, you know, as damaging on your body, or if not more than like football and all those other contact sports.
Oh,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. The injuries, most of the gymnastics injuries are overuse, because we do those skills every day over and over and over again, and the impact is insane. So I know now, so like when you get to college, sometimes like I don't do any of my tumbling passes on the actual floor until the day I compete, because it's just too much impact. So that's where the mental training comes in, because you have to trust that you know what you're doing when you compete, even though you haven't done it that whole week, because my ankle obviously was messed up prior to getting surgery. So I couldn't tumble on the floor during practice weeks. You just have to it's all about, you know, the mental game for sure.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that a little bit, because it sounds like, especially like we talked about earlier, for injuries, it's really all about the mental game, because you're out and it can be, you know, depressing and just damaging, and you feel like all hope is lost in the moment. So talk a little bit about your experience and how you've really had to change the way you think, and how you really mentally made a comeback, and how that's how you actually made your comeback.
Yeah, I think definitely the injury in high school was my first experience with that
Mm-hmm.
debilitating of an injury, and
Mm-hmm.
my coach helped me get through it a lot. I mean, mentally, you're very upset at first. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could say borderline depressed because you're the sport that's now your outlet. It's what makes you happy. You don't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand that you will eventually make it to the other side, and if you want to make it to the other side faster, you have to you have to do all your rehab. You have to make sure that you're mentally still in the game. You're still thinking about your sport every day. You're still, visualizing yourself doing all your routines. You're doing everything you would do in practice. You're doing any strength training that you are able to do. And it's a lot of perseverance. You're just persevering until you can get to the other side. And that was what I did for my back injury. When I broke my foot, that was probably the more devastating injury because I was going into college and I had just gotten all my
Right.
routines ready to go, and then my foot snapped. So that one was really tough mentally because I was scared that my college coach wasn't going to want me anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and getting through it's all perseverance. It's all, doing what you can, pushing through the hard days. You wake up, you're not going to be able to do your sport and it's depressing, but you have to do all the rehab, keep your body strong, keep your mind strong, and keep your mind in the game so that the second that your body's healthy and ready to go, you're competing at the top of your game. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to still climb uphill once you're healthy.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. And I love that word perseverance. It's so true. You just got to keep that
Yeah.
going. And then, as well as having the patience to persevere, right?
Oh, patience is huge. Yeah. And
Huge.
you have to
Totally.
cut yourself a break. Allow yourself to, be a little bit upset about the injury. You can't say, not be upset about it, but then you have to let that be your motivator to get better.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's talk about now. I want to know after graduation, what did you do and how did you transition from being a college athlete to just being an athlete and working in the real world?
Yeah, that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Graduating college is difficult because now
It
you're thrown
is.
into the real world. They just say, "All right, good luck. Go make money and make a living." Like,
Yep.
all right. So, my plan, of course, and nothing ever goes according to plan. My plan
Never.
when I no, never. I was going to take a year off. I moved to Sacramento. I was going to work as a physical therapy aide because I had actually interned at Results prior to graduating. So yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
all ties together.
It all ties
Um,
together.
Yep, because I was going to go to PT school. That was my plan to become a physical therapist. I majored in exercise biology for that purpose. But when I was working in the clinic, I liked it, but I don't think I loved it as much as I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think my only connection to PT was that I had been injured a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
really had an appreciation for the body and how it worked, and I wanted to help other people. And so I thought that's what I wanted to do, but after living in SAC about 6 months, I got a part-time job as a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, just honestly, just to make a little more money. That was the only
Mm-hmm.
reason I started. I had started lifting weights. That was my new fitness outlet. And because I needed something to replace gymnastics. And so I tried
Right.
weightlifting, and I got into personal training and I loved it. I started to look forward to seeing my clients and less look forward to going to the clinic. And I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
something's not right there. So I ended up leaving the clinic, going full time as a trainer, and I realized I liked it because I wanted to prevent the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I was tired. I wanted people who are working out and getting hurt, I wanted to help them not do that. So teach them
Right.
correct form, learn
Yes.
how to reach their goals, and learn how to get the fitness level that they wanted without hurting themselves. Or if they already have an injury, to help them strengthen the right muscles and help them become more pain free. And so I like that angle of it a lot better. So I started doing that after college. And that's when I had my ankle surgery. It was right after college. So I was recovering from that at the same time. And but I still definitely felt like something was missing. I mean, it'd be like if you couldn't play golf again. It's like
Right.
it's something in your body that's just missing. And 18 years of gymnastics was just done. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I found Ninja Warrior, and that's when that kind of took over that little hole in my life
Yeah. Okay. So
after
how
college.
how did that happen? Because you were personal training. So how did you go
Hmm.
from personal training to finding out about American Ninja Warrior, and then like talk about that whole recruiting process? Like how did that opportunity happen? How did you get casted for it? I'm like so curious to know about all this.
Yeah. So I'd never seen the show before. I think the first time I actually saw it was the summer after I graduated from Davis. I was actually house sitting at a friend's apartment, just
Oh my
coincidentally, and
gosh.
I went to their apartment gym and was working out in there, and the TV was on, and American Ninja Warrior just happened to be on TV, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and I started watching the show, and that's when one of the girls, her name is Casey Catanzaro. She's, become this star in the show. That was her breakout year when she was the first girl to complete a qualifying course, a finals course, and she's this 5 foot tall, tiny little, and she was a college gymnast. And I saw her background. I was like, I could totally do that. So
awesome.
After I saw her on the show, I realized that that's exactly what I wanted to do next. That was going to be my new outlet. And so but I had to have ankle surgery that August. That was before my surgery that I realized I wanted to do it. So I had my surgery. I told Katie, I said, Kay, I need you to get me back so I can compete on this show. And she was kind of like, okay, whatever. But she's like, I'll do it. I'll train you for it. And then as soon as I had full mobility of my ankle, which was a year later, I went down to this gym in Concord because the owner, I saw him on the show and I saw that he was from Concord and I saw he had a gym. So I was like, great, I'll go down there and train. And that was in August 2015. So I went to the gym and it was like, my first day there, the community is amazing. They all welcomed me there. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I applied for the show, but I didn't get on that year. So to apply, you submit a video, a 3-minute long video about yourself and what you do. And then you fill out an application and that's it. And then you wait to get a call back.
So they don't even have you like send in a video of what you can actually do?
Well, it's of what you can do. It's like of your training, of your skills, like of your you doing ninja obstacles.
Gotcha.
They want to know about you, right? So it's a 3-minute video about you and your athletic ability, and then and there's all these rules to the video, and then you hope to get picked. So I didn't get selected my first year, but if you don't get selected, you can go down and be a course tester, and which means you get to do the obstacles and test them for the producers, which is how it happens during the day. So someone told me about that and I was like, oh yeah, for sure. So we drove down to LA with a couple friends and we were testing the course, and that's when I met the executive producers. So I was testing one of the obstacles and no girl tester had gotten through it yet. And so I went up to do it and I didn't get through it, but I got really close. I was the closest one and it was this whole dramatic thing and I fell off and like face planted into the water and made this big splash. It's so dramatic. But it was, and then I crawled out of the water and one of the executive producers greeted me when I got out. And I was like, who are you?
I need to know.
He was like, well, why aren't you on the show this year? And I said, well, because you didn't pick me. And he was like, well, make sure you apply next year. And so what's funny is there was something called Team Ninja Warrior. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but that's when you race each other on the course. That one's on USA Network. It's a newer show. Yeah, so it was kind of a spinoff. So because I've been training at that gym in Concord for so long, or for about a year, two of the guys there had been called up to be on Team Ninja and they needed a girl on their team. So they asked the producers if I could be the girl on the team. And they said yes. And so that was my first ninja experience. Anything was actually on Team Ninja in the fall of 2016. And that same producer saw me in line at the lunch hour. And he was like, hey, you made it.
That's
which I thought
awesome.
was so funny. And then I reapplied for season 9 of American Ninja Warrior, and then I got selected. So my first season ever was a year ago competing, and I didn't get aired on TV on that one because I didn't do it as well. I fell on the third obstacle in qualifiers. I didn't qualify past that. I got my feet wet, literally.
Yes.
So that was my first experience on the show, and that's basically how you get on. You apply, you hope to get selected, and once you're on, you're on the qualifier. And about 100 people run that course. They only air about 30%
Wow.
of the runners. Yeah, and then to move on from qualifiers, you have to get top 5. It's top 30 or top 5 women. And so after not doing so well, I was really disappointed, but because I knew that I could do better. And I just had done so well on Team Ninja. I was like the rookie sensation. And then I went and fell super early on the show. And I was like, well, so much for those expectations. So I reapplied. I got back on Team Ninja, did another season of that, and then applied for season 10. Got back on, and that was the year that just aired was season 10 of American Ninja Warrior. That was my best ninja anything so far. So that was incredible. I did city qualifiers. I made it to the 5th obstacle, fell right at the end. So I didn't get up. I didn't get to do the wall, but I was 4th, which meant that I got the top 5 to make it to city finals, which was filmed the very next night. So it was filmed overnight. Some people don't know that. It's filmed from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Right? That was like, wait, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.? Yeah, that's like I was on a show on Golf Channel called Shopmakers, and it was the same thing, like 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. every night, and people don't realize it. And I'm like, how do you not realize it? It's nighttime when they're filming. It's like dark out.
Yeah, you assume watching it that it's the same time that you're watching it. You assume
Right.
it's live, right? Like,
Right.
I think it was like 9 o'clock. I'm like,
Yes.
no. So I ran the city qualifier course at 3:15 in the morning.
Oh my
and then,
gosh.
Yeah. And then I, qualified city finals. So I got back to my hotel at 7 a.m., went to bed, woke up at 2 p.m., was back on set at 4 p.m. because I had to run city finals course that night. And then I ran the city finals course at 9:45 p.m. So I technically ran them in the same day.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
Yeah. And it's honestly, you're living on adrenaline at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I got second at city finals. I made it to the 8th obstacle, which is up the warped wall, up the salmon ladder, which that was what I wanted. I wanted to do the warped wall, and I wanted to do the salmon ladder. And I was so stoked when I got to do both of those things that when I got to the obstacle after that, I didn't know what to do.
You're like, wait a minute.
Wait, I didn't expect to make it this far. And
oh my gosh.
That's where I ended up going out. If you see the video of me doing it, I am fully stretched out in this split to try and get through this obstacle, and it didn't quite make it, but it was good enough to get me to the national finals in Vegas, which was insane. That was just a wild ride. So that was filmed a few months later. That was filmed back in June, and that just aired. And I didn't have the best performance in Vegas, but I was very happy to make it to Vegas.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I love that. And it's all about perseverance, right? I feel like that has kind of been, totally throughout your entire career, which I absolutely love. And it's funny too, as you're talking about this, I can totally relate to you. Not so much the physicality part, but for Shopmakers, the funny thing is they actually, their whole inspiration was American Ninja Warrior. They wanted to make, because American Ninja Warrior, seems like it's live, like you said, like viewers think that it's kind of happening in real time. So that was the same thing, the same feel that they wanted. So it's so funny how you're talking about all this, because I'm like, oh my gosh, the producers on my show totally replicated what they do on American Ninja Warrior, which I think is so cool. But and it's totally adrenaline, right? Like, I don't know about you, but like when you're competing like that and you're in the zone, like I pretty much blacked out. Like everything else, like you're just so tunnel vision. But then at the same time, I didn't remember half the things I did on the show until I actually watched it back later. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, I did that. It's just so funny to see.
Oh yeah, like when I watched it on TV, they're like, "Is this the first time you're watching?" I was like, "Yeah, I haven't seen this. Like, I haven't seen someone." Right. It's weird to watch yourself compete, but I'm also like, I don't remember doing that. Like, it was really funny to watch. Like, I don't remember pointing at that or smiling at that or whatever I was doing. No memory.
Oh, I did the same thing. I was so embarrassed of some of the things I did. Like, I was pumping up the crowd at one point, and I'm like, oh, watching it, I'm like, I am so embarrassing. So I totally feel you there. But I think that's so cool that you had that experience and opportunity. But let's talk about now what you do now, because you said you were a personal trainer. You've kind of done that throughout American Ninja Warrior. But I want to know about you. I feel like you do so many things, and I absolutely love it. You're a business owner. So talk about your personal training, your business that you own, how you got into all of that, and then also what skills as an athlete helped you out as an entrepreneur.
Okay, yeah. So personal training. So I own a personal training business. So after working at a commercial gym for about a year, I met a friend of mine who introduced me. He owned his own personal training business and told me kind of how it all worked. And I was like, okay, it sounds way better than working for a corporate company. So I left that company, started my own business about 2 years ago. And I train one-on-one clients. I've done a few boot camp clients, but for the most part, I do one-on-one and I do online training now, which I just launched. It's an app on your phone, and there's these video. I can create workouts that each exercise is a video, so people can see exactly how to do it. But I think when it comes to an athlete transferring into the work world and into owning a business, I think perseverance, work ethic, and having a purpose are the things that kind of relate to that. Like when you're an athlete, your purpose. You have your sport. Your purpose is pretty much to exceed or excel at the sport that you're doing. And when you don't have that sport anymore and you transfer it into business, now I feel like my purpose is to grow my business, is to help my clients in any way that I can. I used to get this sense of accomplishment and achievement from gymnastics, completing a routine, doing something I'd never done before. And now I get that through my clients. So when I get a client that's never done something before, whether it be, 10 push-ups or a pull-up or lifting a certain amount of weight, whatever it is, and then they do it, they feel accomplishment, and then I feel it too. So it replicates that feeling that I had as an athlete. And I think that's why I love it so much. So I think it helps, it transfers right in there. It helps me a lot. And then the nutritional supplement company is brand new. I just started that with my business partner this year. And that was that was kind of a random thing, but I got into supplements when I started working out, trying to replace gymnastics with just fitness and trying to get really healthy. And I was taking protein powder after my, workouts and drinking branched chain amino acids during my workouts. And a friend of mine who had worked at GNC for multiple years presented me with the idea of coming out with my own line of supplements. And I jumped on it. I was like, absolutely done. So we worked hard on our products, and we launched them in April. And so now we have that going too, which is really exciting.
So I want to know more about that, because I feel like starting your own supplement company, like, it sounds very daunting and kind of scary. Yeah. So talk to us about that and like kind of everything, the trials and tribulations that you had to go through to launching your own supplement company.
Yeah, definitely scary. When he first presented it to me, I will say I don't think my first reaction was absolutely. I think my first reaction was, maybe. I don't know. That sounds expensive and like asking for a lot of debt really quickly. That was honestly kind of my first thought. But I did a little bit more research about it, and it's definitely not initially lucrative. I mean, it's a grinding business. It's definitely a side business right now where we're just trying to grow the business. It's not, where I'm making my money at this point. We're just trying to create products that are going to be really great for our clients and for people. We wanted to create an image where get away from the bodybuilding world. So people think of supplements, they think of bodybuilders, and that's not. We want people to think of supplements as helping them be healthier. The average person who goes to the gym and works out, 3 to 5 days a week might not be getting everything out of their diet and their nutrition that they need. So we wanted to create products to help those people get everything they can out of their, their daily workouts when they go for an hour, people who want to be healthy. But there was a lot of back and forth with our manufacturer, making sure our products had the right ingredients that we wanted, making sure they tasted good.
Yes.
The first thing he sent us for our branched chain amino acids, we both were like, this is disgusting. Like, this is not going to work. So it's just months of sending things back and forth, trying to get the flavors right, because I'm big on flavor. And I wasn't going to create something, put my name on it that I didn't think tasted good.
Yep.
And that was probably the most difficult part, was getting it to taste good, but not adding, sugar, and making sure that it had the right ingredients that it had. And finally, he sent us one, and my business partner, I tasted it, and we were like, done. This is it. Like, this tastes amazing. So that was the most time-consuming part. And then designing the label, and there's a lot more that goes into it than you would think. I mean, I didn't even realize you have to buy barcodes. Like, you have to buy, like, to sell them, you have to have a barcode, and you have to buy that piece of the puzzle. And I've learned a lot about the industry.
I didn't even know you actually have to buy barcodes. I'm a little embarrassed now that I didn't know that. But I mean, you have to it's like you have like the first certain numbers are like, that's your number, and it's a year. You have to pay every year to keep that number. And then the last like 3 or 4 numbers are different per product. But you have to have these first like 7 numbers it's like your ID essentially, and you have to pay to have it every year. I had no idea. Oh, that is so crazy. Yeah, I feel like if you get into that, especially when you're selling a product, you learn all the little details that like you had no idea were even existed as a consumer, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I had no idea. I mean, yeah, and making sure. Oh, spell checking the label. Oh, I don't know how many. Like, we wrote the label. I don't know how many times I'd read it and like, that's error. Like grammar checks. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like making sure that nothing on your label was spelled wrong, or that everything was correct, that you had the warning labels on there. I mean, everything. I don't know how. I think I read it 3 or 4 times and always found an error. our address at one point was wrong. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, I'm not an English major. This is not my thing.
That is insane. But I mean, all the details count, right? All the little details down to every single period, every single, everything.
I mean, would you want to buy, if you look at a bottle and nutritionist spelled wrong, I'd probably put it down. Like if they didn't pay attention to that, what's in it? Like, so,
that is too funny.
Little things.
Oh yeah. Well, let's also talk about too, because you mentioned that you have an app. I want to hear more about that. Yeah.
So I just launched it like this month. I just started this online platform for training, and I'm really excited about it because I only have so many hours in the day that I can train one-on-one clients, and this helps me, expand and get to access to more people anywhere in the country. So the app it's very simple. It has a dashboard on it, and it has programs that I can customize to each client. And so let's say I wanted to create, a leg workout, great. And let's say I throw squats on there just for simplicity. And when they click that, there's a video of, it's not me in the video. Eventually I would like to get me in the videos. Right now it's not me. There's a whole database of videos that I have access to. And it's this guy explaining exactly the form that they need to do it, how to do the exercise properly. And so what I love about it, and the reason I haven't done a lot of online training before, is I'm not comfortable giving someone a workout plan without watching them do it, because that's how people get hurt. And so now I'm finally comfortable creating workout programs for people because I know that they will be looking at videos and seeing exactly how to do it. And they can message me right then and there instantly through the app and ask me questions. I will be checking. I can check in with them through the app to make sure everything's going okay. I have a calendar where I schedule all their workouts, their cardio. You can link my FitnessPal to it, and I can look at everything that you're eating. It's really, really helpful. And there's the connection between my client and I through the app. It's all you're missing is the face-to-face. And if they want that, we can Skype or video message on the app if they want to show me something. So it's really, really cool. And I can upload my own videos if there's an exercise that I need them to do or something specific that's not on there. I can video myself doing it and send it to them. So it's very, there's a lot going on with it, but it's very easy to use. The interface is very simple. And I'm really excited because I can get more clients going and help them. People who just need guidance in the gym, all they have to do is use the app, look at the workouts, and go do it. And they have a trainer right there on their phone.
Yeah, that is so cool. And it sounds, it's like very hands-on without you actually being there in person, which is so great because I think for a lot of people, it's just like, people want a personal trainer, but I mean, the fact that they have access to it and you don't have to actually be with them is just really cool.
Yeah, well, and personal training is expensive. I mean, it is an expensive thing, and you get a lot out of it. It's very valuable. My clients, but sometimes it's just not in the budget for some people, which I completely understand. And the online training is a quarter of the cost. I mean, it's substantially cheaper than training. And there's a way people will pay for a program, whether it be 8 weeks long or 12 weeks long. And then if they want to continue access to the app to continue to use the workouts and continue to have me to check in with them, they can pay a much smaller amount per month to keep me, and I can continue to check in with them over time. So it's a really easy way to have a trainer in your pocket and to make sure that you're actually progressing. My favorite part about it is they can track their workouts. So they can type in the weights that they're using, the reps that they're completing in every workout, and I can see if they're progressing and if they're upping the weight. So if they're not upping the weight, I will know, and I can make sure that they do.
That is so cool. Okay, so what is your app called? Because I am interested in using it now because I've had a few different fitness apps before, and it's they're okay, but it sounds like the fact that you can put in your weight, the fact that I'll know how to do an exercise correctly in the right form, which is super important to prevent injury. So what's the app called? Where can everyone find it?
The app is called Trainerize. That's the software that I use. But to log into it, I have to add you as a client. So what happens if a client wants to train with me via the app, they can submit on my website. They can submit a inquiry form. I will add them as a client. They get an email on how to set up their account. They create their own login, and then they have full access to me and the database, and then we can start training from there. So the one thing, eventually I would like to get an app where it's just membership and I have unlimited people. Right now there's a limited number of spots for clients, but I can easily adjust that, with the touch of a button. So once it fills up, all I have to do is expand it, and I can get more clients in there. But yeah, so that's kind of how you log into it.
And what's your website called?
Shufitness.com. It's
Perfect.
shufitness.com. Yeah.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, and okay, so before we start ending this, I want to know from you, first of all, what is your best piece of advice for our listeners? So young female athletes, you've given them a lot of great advice so far about, dealing with injury and perseverance, but overall, what's your best message for them? As a female athlete, and then going into the real world as well.
Honestly, I would say find something that you're passionate about, that you love to do, and then dive into it and give it all that you have. I think too many people try and do what they feel they're supposed to do, or other people think they should be doing, or the job they think is going to make them the most money, even though they don't like it. And I think that to really be happy and to really be successful, and young athletes who are looking to do a sport, pick something that you're truly passionate about, that you really enjoy, and dive in and give it all that you have. I think that's going to make you the happiest, the most successful in life, and make you become the best that you can be.
Definitely. I love that. And then also, so we talked a little bit about all your businesses, but give us, where can everyone find you? Plug all your things. Give everyone everything that they should know about where they can find you and how they can work with you.
Okay, well, I'm on all the social media things. I'm on Facebook, Anna Shumaker on Facebook, Instagram. I'm Shoe Fit Ninja on Instagram, Anna Shumaker on Twitter. My website is Shoe Fitness. So everything's linked. So if you find me on one thing, you'll find me on the rest of them. So Instagram is probably the easiest way to link everything. So Shoe Fit Ninja is my Instagram. And that's how people can contact me for anything, really.
Yeah, and everyone needs to remember she has her personal training in person. So do you mainly train just in Sacramento area?
I'm based out of West Sacramento, and so that's where the gym is at that I train my clients for in-person clients.
But online as well, you can find it on her website. And then also your supplement company too. I want to try that out too. And it sounds like it tastes good.
That one's called I don't think I said that. On Point Nutrition is the supplement.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else exciting coming up for you that we should know about?
I'm kind of in my off season right now, so nothing. I just finished my first 100-mile bike ride, which was insane.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and as far as ninja goes, there's some local ninja competitions that I do that I've got coming up in November, but right now we're waiting for the application to reopen and reapply and hopefully get reselected and do it all over again. So.
Yes, we'll have to see you. And I still need to watch your episodes, but I think that is just so cool.
Thank you.
And I hope that you get reselected again. And you'll have to tell me when that local competition is, because I'd love to come out. I love watching American Ninja Warrior. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd love to see it in person.
For sure. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so final question for you. What does playing like a girl mean to you?
Ooh, I saw that one. So I grew up with brothers. So when I grew up, it was you throw like a girl, you do this like a girl. That's how I grew up. And so as a kid, I made it my goal to not have people say that about me, right? I mean, I didn't want them to say I ran like a girl or throw like a girl. Well, I'm so happy that times have changed. And now I think that is one of the biggest compliments ever. I think that's one of the reasons American Ninja Warrior, the guys and the girls compete together. Same playing field. It's completely equal. And so I want people I think it means to strive for something. Like when you play like a girl, it means you're striving to be your best. You're working as hard as you can. You're giving it all you got. I mean, you're essentially kicking ass at your sport or whatever you do. So I think saying someone plays like a girl is the biggest compliment you can give somebody.
I love that. Well, Anna, thank you so much for coming on the Play Like a Girl podcast. You had so much good advice for our listeners, and I absolutely love that. I mean, playing like a girl just means like playing like one of the boys, right? It means just playing.
Yep, exactly.
Yep, playing together, play as you can. Yeah, love it. Well, thank you so much. All right, Plug listeners, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun talking to Anna. I learned so many different things today about business, gymnastics, American Ninja Warrior, television. We had some similar stories with our TV experience, but I just had the best time talking with her, and I hope you liked all the advice that she gave. My favorite point that she made today was just about perseverance, and then also just finding your passion and really persevering through that as well. So Make sure to share this episode with a friend who you think will enjoy this podcast. I'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts on this episode, so head to iTunes to leave a review. You can also send any questions or topics you'd like us to cover by sending us a DM on Instagram at PlayLikeAGirlMP. We want to know what you want to hear. Before you go, screenshot this episode and tag us at PlayLikeAGirlMP so we know you're listening alongside us. Thank you so much for listening to episode 11 of Play Like a Girl. We hope you come back for more. Once again, I'm Nikki B, and remember to never stop playing like a girl.
You play ball like a girl!